stop thinking about you and start thinking about who you need to show up for. How do they need to see me, my brand, my story in order for them to build that trust in me and to be able to say, that's the person I want to do business with?
Allison Walsh, one of the top leading personal brand experts. We're going to talk all things thought leadership and brands.
You don't have to share your whole life to build your personal brand. If you hide under the rock, you're going to be the best kept secret. And what are you doing? Your business isn't going to make the money it could. You're not going to have the impact that you're going to be able to make. You're certainly not going to have opportunities that you don't even know exist yet because you've been hiding from the version of yourself that you need to show up as.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani. And today I am so thrilled for this episode because we're going to talk all things branding, visibility, and our personal thought leadership. So if you are building a brand or you're building a company right now, it's 2026 and founder-led brands are the brands that are winning. People want to hear your story. They want to know the behind the scenes, the messy, the middle, not just the shiny objects at the end of our feeds or on Instagram. They want to know what's happening with the founder behind the scenes, how you're building the business, and they want to be involved. They want to buy from brands that they love and admire and the founders that go with it. But in a really crowded space, you're probably so exhausted like me. I can't show up on social media because I do show up on social media, but half the time I'm like, what do I post? What am I talking about? Or it doesn't feel natural, or you just don't want to be that person that's doing the TikTok dances through. That's not who I am, and it's never going to be. So it feels so inauthentic trying to bring everyone into the founder world and still staying relevant and visible without having to succumb to what everyone else is doing. Well, I've got a solution for you because I have brought here one of the top leading personal brand experts, Allison Walsh, for the CEO School podcast. And we're going to talk all things thought leadership and brand. So I'm so excited to welcome Allison to the show. Allison, welcome to CEO School.
Thank you so much. It's so fun to be back. So thank you.
I know. Oh my God, we've done this episode, or we've had you on a couple years ago now it's been, and I think your journey has really evolved from the healthcare journey as well. So I would love for you to take us back, and however far back you want to go, tell the audience about your just incredible background and how you've come into this space of consulting and coaching for personal brand.
Yeah, happy to. So, it really did start when I was 18. It was an innocent venture and journey into the personal branding space, but it was when I really started to share my own story. So I had struggled while I was in high school and, had a very significant journey and battle with eating disorders. And when I was 18 years old and I was in healthy recovery, I started to share my story. I got to the University of Florida, walked on campus, realized that there were no real resources there for students that were struggling or in recovery. And I asked if I could join or start a student organization, and they said, absolutely, go for it. So at 18 years old, I became an advocate in that space. I started speaking. Fast forward 5 years, I had the honor and privilege of becoming Miss Florida. I then had 250 speaking engagements during my year of service. That was my full-time job. And I quickly realized the power of building your brand. Because of those experiences and the doors that I opened and the relationships that I built as a result of being open, honest, and sharing the journey, there were so many seats at the table that became available. And there were mentors that were pouring into me that were saying, listen, you've got a voice and a story to share. Let's really leverage that for good. I then spent the last 2 decades in the behavioral healthcare space. I decided not to be a clinician, but I loved business. And so was involved with hypergrowth startups, helping to scale them from literally dirt in a dream to where they are today, thousands of employees, hundreds of thousands of lives changed as a result of it. It was such an incredible experience, but it all started because I was willing to be visible. I was willing to share my story, the messy and also the magical parts of it. But ultimately, that thought leadership propelled not only my brand forward, but the organizations that I was working for. During that time, a lot of people were coming to me and saying, hey, I've seen what you've done in this space. I've seen what you've done for these other thought leaders. I've seen what you've done for the young women that you've mentored. Can you do this for me too? And so that's really when I started building out my consulting and coaching company. We've since helped personally one-on-one over 300 amazing, ambitious women. And then, of course, in 2020 started She Believes She Could. And so the rest is kind of history.
Oh my God, that's such
so
that's such a great, that was 60 seconds of the last 15 years of your life. It happened so fast when you have to recap it. There was so much in the middle I want to go back to. I think one of the most interesting things that I've learned about you is the transition, not just Miss Florida, which was clearly
Very
amazing
cool.
and not pretty cool, really, really cool and well-deserved. And after being crowned Miss America, then moving into healthcare, right? Like that's not usually a transition. I know you and I recently, actually, Allison and I got to spend just incredible time together at St. Jude's Research Hospital and campus in Memphis. And so we got to like really connect deeper and deeper. And I was trying to piece all the pieces together because I'm like, I know you from the healthcare and just personal development space as well, and how the branding part of it came about. And you're like, Suneera, I did 250 speaking engagements right after you get crowned. So you just naturally, it's what you were doing. And then you got the opportunity to go, follow something completely different, go dabble into corporate, and then build startup to exit. And then you kind of return back to where you felt the most comfortable and where you felt the most purposeful in like what you were building for other women and other people because you did it for yourself.
Right, I did. And I think, of course, I've loved building my brand. And I mean, it evolved so much, and just the courage to be seen and to really even step outside of it, because I had my journey where it was my brand and I was super focused on building my personal brand. But then I went and I built all these other brands, right? And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit, our corporate salaries were slashed. I was looking for creativity and inspiration and wisdom. And it was March 30th of 2020 that I flipped the switch on my podcast. And I said, you know what? It's time for me to practice what I preach. And because of that, so many amazing things happened. Like the podcast just evolved. I've loved it. It's been such a journey. I got a book deal as a result of it. I published with Wiley in 2023. And then when it was time for me to make the big, bold decision to leave an industry that I loved and had been a part of, but I was ready to really focus and double down, it was because I had built my brand that I could just confidently take that step and say, you know what, full-time entrepreneurship, here I come. And it has been so rewarding and so incredible. And so I'm very, very grateful. But I've loved building mine. I am obsessed with helping women build theirs. And like, it just lights me up on the inside.
I totally get that feeling. And I know exactly that feeling. I love business so much. I love scaling businesses. I love building businesses. And I don't think that'll ever go away as part of whether I'm like an advisor or an investor or a consultant, because I need to be in it. But my favorite part is helping other women build businesses, because when you see it and it clicks and you're like, wait, you're so close to this thing. And with just those key pieces that you could probably put together with them, the magic unlocks and it's so rewarding. I want to talk about those key pieces though. So there's like two parts of this conversation that I want to have. One for the entrepreneur in the room, and all of our entrepreneurs, I always say this on every single podcast episode, we are different. These are the most ambitious women in the room. They are established. They are the go-getters. They are here every single week listening. These are playbooks that we give them, not just inspiration. So we want to leave with playbooks, but these are the ones that are going to take your notes and they're going to go for it.
My favorite people.
They're our favorite people. So there's a fear element that's stopping her, or she's dabbling a little bit. She knows it's important. It's 2026 now. We can't shy away from this conversation. She's fearful of like, it's so much to do. Where does she even begin if she's in that I don't even know where to get started phase? So let's start there. And then I want to talk to the entrepreneur that has done the things, but is stepping into that thought leadership level. So let's start with the one who's afraid to press that button.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fear is very real. It's why everything starts with mindset. And that's just such a common issue that I see individuals struggle with at different stages and phases of their journey. So just calling it out and acknowledging it, like if you're feeling it, it's normal. So don't beat yourself up. But what I would encourage you to do is stop thinking about you and start thinking about who you need to show up for. So just like what you said of like, I'm thinking about her, I'm thinking about you, right? Like who do you need to show up for, and stop making it about yourself. The moment you can think of like, what does she need? Or what does that customer need? What does that client need? How do they need to see me, my brand, my story in order for them to build that trust in me, right? And to be able to say, that's the person I want to do business with, or that's the organization that's got a kick butt founder that is just really, she gets it, right? So you have to stop thinking about it from your perspective, and you have to set the ego aside. It's very easy for people to get lost in the personal branding space.
Did you just say ego?
I did.
Double click here. I'm a huge fan of this word.
Yeah.
And it's actually not in the context that you're saying it, because you'd almost think the opposite.
Right.
Of
You
like,
would.
wait, if I show up online, people are going to think I have a really big ego. She only wants to talk about herself. I'm so sick of seeing her. Where does that part play in?
Yeah. Again, it's like you have to show up for the people you're intended to do business with. If you you hide under the rock, you're going to be the best kept secret. And like, what are you doing? Your business isn't going to make the money it could. You're not going to have the impact that you're going to be able to make. You're certainly not going to have opportunities that you don't even know exist yet because you've been hiding from the version of yourself that you need to show up as. And so like, you have to separate it. It's not about you, it's about your business. And once you start to think of it like that, you don't have to share your whole life to build your personal brand. You need to think about the core pillars, the core points, the core stories, the transformation. And when you can directly tie that back to what it is that you do in your profession or how you want to show up so that other opportunities come your way, it's not about you, right? It becomes very much like this is intentional because this is building that expertise, that authority, that trust that ultimately is going to unlock that next level for my business and for my brand.
I love that reframing of like, it's not about you. So just speak to the problem, the pain point, your customer. What do they need to know?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about, because I love to do the brand pillars exercise
Yeah.
as well. So is there a framework or even something that she can take away right now to say, here's like the next 1, 2, 3 steps?
Yeah.
She's taking notes. What does she need to do
Yeah.
next?
So I actually have 5 that I like to walk people through. So we talked about mindset, right? Like name it to tame it. Like if you don't know what it is that's causing that trepidation, it's always going to be in between your ears and it's going to take up a lot of space.
I know mine. It's what will they think?
Yeah.
That's my number one hesitation every time I want to promote something. Or I always share, like, it's easy for me to share value, like education content, because I'm like giving. And as soon as I have to make an ask or I have to sell something, or I'm like, here, come to my conference, I'm like, oh my God, just like the sweats.
I get it.
Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I have to make an ask. Like, what are my friends going to think?
Yeah.
Like,
but here I will challenge you and say,
Yeah.
so what?
So what?
So what do they, who cares?
Who cares?
Those women, like, let's just use your event. Those 250 women that were in that room
Yeah.
for Unicorn Summit needed you to show up and tell them there was a place and
Yes.
space for them.
Yes.
So like, so what? Who cares what other people
Yes.
think? Like you were put on this planet for a reason and you have a purpose and a calling. And if you allow the limiting thoughts or the what will people think make you play small,
Mhm.
you are literally limiting your own impact. So like that's just like,
And I do want to share
Yeah.
because like I still hesitate all the time on so many things. So I think
Mhm.
mindset is something that we're all working on all the time. Like,
Right.
have you found that it's like it's not a one and done?
It's not. And I think like different stages and phases of your life and career, different mindset blocks come up. And I use this visual with a lot of our clients in our workshops of literally a brain and all of the different blocks, right? So think of a visual of just almost like kids stacking blocks of like one is fear, one is imposter syndrome, one is perfectionism, fear of failure, whatever it may be. And like once you name it, tame it, reframe it, you take its power away, right? And simply by putting words to it and acknowledging it, it's taking your power back. And so like we start there, then we roll into messaging. Messaging is everything, right? That's where the pillars come in. That is where like, what do you want to be known for? And what are the areas of expertise that you need to talk about? So, I talk a lot about confidence. I talk a lot about leadership, thought leadership. I talk a lot about branding. Those are my pillars, right? And I'm staying and playing in those spaces because I don't want to dilute my brand and people not understand what it is that I do. So messaging, that's something that you have to spend the time on because then you're going to start to focus on marketing. Marketing is all of the places and spaces that you need to show up in order to serve her or whoever your customer is, right? And so be intentional. You don't have to be everywhere. So stop overwhelming yourself and thinking that you have to be in all the places. You need to be where your person is, your customer is. We focus on the monetization. So how does everything tie back? Again, like don't waste your time doing things that aren't going to move the needle. You might have to do some things in the early days just to flex the muscle, put the reps in because it does get easier the more that you're doing it. And then ultimately, what's that momentum plan? So we focus on those 5 M's with our clients, with our community. And when you can really focus on those steps, it takes, again, the overwhelm in building your brand away because it's very logical. It's like, okay, what's holding me back? What do I need to be saying? Where do I need to be saying it? How is this going to build my business and tie back to the dollars and cents? And then what's the roadmap forward? What's the growth trajectory? What's the plan? What are the other opportunities that exist?
I love that. It makes it so easy to think about in that way and just like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like just start with yourself first. And then you can figure out the message, the market, and I love the momentum at the end. It's like you put in all the reps and you're doing all the things right. Momentum is when it feels like I've been doing it for so long and now it feels like it just caught on fire.
Exactly.
And that's that piece that it does happen. And it doesn't happen. It's not an overnight thing. It's putting in all of those reps. And then it's like, boom, here's how, like, now we have
Yeah.
momentum.
Well, and I think also too with the momentum piece, it's a reminder that you're constantly evolving too, right? Like I think sometimes people start on their brand building journey and they're focused on the aesthetics of like, I want to build a website and I want the pretty colors and fonts and I want all that stuff. But that's not really what this is about at all. This is about you packaging yourself in a way in which you become a magnet for what you want now, understanding that the whole point in life is to evolve into the complete person you're intended to be. So when you think about it from like, this is part of the journey, there's not a final destination in this. Yes, you might get it to a point where right now it's exactly the way that you want it to be and very on brand, but you're going to evolve, you're going to change, and permission for your brand too as well.
I love that. Now, going back to that, now I'm like, okay, great. We're going to get started. We're doing the thing. What are some of the places that you're finding the most amount of momentum or the right message, and I know this answer is going to vary depending on, you're going to say it depends on the audience, right?
Right.
I know you're going to tell me that, but give us some like 2026 algorithm. Like, what are you seeing that's trending, working? Go here first.
Yeah.
Write about this first. Try it in this way. Like, this is an every week kind of podcast. I'm going to bring it back to like, what can we do right now?
Yeah. Thought leadership is everything. If you're not owning your voice and you're not showing up and using it in a way in which it can be captured, cataloged, archived, and found in search, like you can't think of it just today from like, I need a pretty website with my story on it and my media kit. Like you have to be thinking of how are you positioning yourself in a crowded market, which you are competing with avatars these days, right? So what are your unique stories, experiences, frameworks, teaching points, methodologies? How can you package yourself in a way that makes you unique and distinct? And then how can you create the type of content that will continue to build that thought leadership? Because that's going to outlive a lot of what's happening right now. We live in a world right now where you can literally create an avatar of yourself, churn out some social content. It can be posted in an hour and call it a day. And that's fine and well for the people that want to do that. But I truly believe that the women that listen to your show are looking at legacy. They're looking at long-term strategy. They're looking at how do I create a lane? And you have to be using your voice.
I don't know how it would feel if some of my favorite podcasts or my favorite creators would say, hey, this is made from AI. Like I do think, and as I literally today won an award from Inc. for Worth AI. Like
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I was on the Inc. 500 list today. And it was a big surprise, by the way, because I have already been on the list for Stacks. And so I thought I was done because I was on the Inc. 100 before they had the Inc. 100. Then I came on as a judge. And at that time, because I'd exited the company, it was listed under CEO school. So I'm so proud of being a judge. So I was a judge in 2024. It was Inc. 250. So I helped select the 250 founders. Now it's Inc. 500 and it's 2026, right? Like it literally, and we got it for my name under Worth. And I was like crying this morning because I was like, I can't believe it's all three things that I love to get recognized. So it's a good day. Okay, going back. I don't know if I would truly, I know AI is going to be, and we talked about AI so much even at St. Jude about the humanity element of it. But let's just say, God, I listen to Jay Shetty podcast. I love Jay Shetty. If he were to turn on his avatar and he'd have to say, it's my avatar, would I enjoy the conversation? No, I would always have this in the back of my mind that it's not him.
Yeah, I think there's right now being transparent is so important. It's scary, right? It's easy because it's available, accessible, and it's fast.
Yeah.
It's also cost efficient and there's so many benefits to that piece of it. But, when I think about you showing up authentically for your people, again, will do business with people they trust. And if you are in a business in which trust really matters, which is the majority of them, then it needs to be you. And I know I went on a little bit of a rant about this, I think last week with you too, but one of the contracts that we, recently said no to was, we do a lot of negotiation for creators. And our own stuff too. I mean, we've monetized our show. We do a lot of brand deals and all of that. And one of the clauses in the contract that they would not remove was their ability to turn me into an avatar and reuse, repurpose, resplice, redice everything that I created. I was like, so why am I creating anything if you're just going to, multiply me? And that's not what this is. Absolutely not. And so this is the world that we live in.
And note for brand creators that are listening as well to make sure you read through the contracts right now, because if that was slipped into your contract and you caught it, And that's a really good disclaimer here for those that are doing brand deals, brand content, to ensure that your name likeness is protected even under AI and they don't have rights to that.
100%. That like really got me. And I was like, you know what? This is just such an important conversation for us to have because you have to be wary, of course, but also be mindful of what else is happening with who you are and the content that you're creating. So that's where it is just that much more important for you to show up authentically as yourself, to be able to have that thought leadership, those components to who you are, your brand, your business, what it is that you've built that is unique to you. And that's where, working with people that can help to extract that greatness, because sometimes when you're so close to it, it's
Yeah.
hard to see it. But if you're a founder or a CEO who is really wanting to lean into monetizing your brand or having other opportunities, really spend the time doing that, because that's where content comes from for books. That's where keynotes come from. It's those unique things about you, your process, your business. That is what makes you you. And so spend the time, do the work, show up, share your voice, and get in the places and spaces where people can build that connection with you. Speaking is still one of the highest converting opportunities for
Yeah.
people when it comes to building your brand. And you can do so many things with it. It can be, of course, just a wonderful lead generation for your own business. But if you're writing books, you can sell books in the back of the room. You can sell your programs, you can sell your products, whatever it is. Get on stage, get in chairs and have conversations like this with other people that are willing to put you on their stages. It's so important. And that collaboration as you're all building together, like, is important. So extend the opportunities for others if you've created the platform yourself too.
I love that. And I think what's really exciting about, going back to where we are today in 2026 is this stage has expanded in so many forms. Like 10 years ago, when I started as an entrepreneur, I remember showing up to meetups, like the meetup, like there was literally like a meetup thing that you
Yeah.
can go to. And that was like the local meetups for tech and local meetups for, there was like a 1 million coffees, or I think that's what it was called. I don't know. It was like we'd meet for coffee and it was like ideas and tech creators. And so I'd literally go show up because it was air quote my stage.
Mhm.
And it was a space that I could talk about building this SaaS company, the subscription fat merchant at the
Mhm.
time. And that was the only stage that I could get on. But it's because I got on that stage, then I was invited to the Rollins stage and then this stage and that stage.
Mhm.
So it's like putting in the reps is so important. But there were limited stages.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the podcasting network, which I know we're going
Yeah.
to talk about, but this is a stage. Like we discount the value of going on these shows, being able to get content. Instagram, LinkedIn, our social platforms are a stage too.
Yes, they are.
Right. And so in our heads, we're still thinking about just like the TED Talks and the
Mhm.
keynotes, but we have opportunities for stages all day long. So I bet you that you're driving right now, you're listening to this, you're at home washing the dishes, you're on your computer, you're eating your lunch. Like go identify the closest stages that are
Mhm.
around you and say yes to something
Yep.
or reach out.
Reach out. That's the thing, is that there's so much hesitation in raising your hand without being asked, right? And so it's like building those relationships. Who's hosting events? Who has podcasts? Who's pulling together a network of, ideal clients or customers through you that you can then share your expertise with? And so that is, again, kind of back to those 5 M's, that marketing piece, right? Like so many women are doing amazing work and they're staying quiet about it. But the moment that you start doing it, to your point, it's like a snowball effect, right? And one leads to the next, that leads to the next, and those opportunities grow and they expand. And oh, by the way, you flush out your messaging even more. You are able to see what's landing, what's sticking, what's resonating. And it was because of, speaking so often on stages and creating a podcast for myself back in 2020, that when it was time for me to write my book, it was very easy for me to go, these are the 10 chapters. Here's where I need to lean in. Here are my stories. Here are my frameworks. Here's where we are. And the rest of it's history. And now those are my keynotes. Those are my workshops. It's just the work that you put in is never lost. And it only gets better and stronger the more that you do it. And it's such a powerful way to be able to share your expertise with the world.
I wish I did the work because I feel like, and I was telling you this, I've like pieced it all together. I get invited to, so many places and I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? What am I like? And I have my core stories. And of course I have I do have my frameworks, but I never had anybody sit me down to say, this is like how it's going to get extracted and the playbook of it. How much time do I need to do that?
Yeah, it really comes down to if you can focus a couple of days, honestly, where it's
Okay.
just shut everything off, put your head down and do the work. Like I did mine in 2 days, and it was like dedicated energy and effort. And it has served me I did that 6 years ago as I was really leaning into the She Believes She Could brand and kind of my evolution and where I was going next. And it has served me for the last 6 years. And now as I've stepped into different types of leadership and different opportunities, it's like, okay, as that grows and evolves, I don't need a 2-day exercise anymore, but I need some refinement. And that's where I always encourage you to have the people in your life that can hold up the mirror and help you through that process. Because when you're so close to it and you're so familiar with it, you might not think like that nugget is as strong and solid and valuable, but they might say that's the gold that you need. And so it's just so helpful. And that's what I did. It was incredibly valuable. I do that with my clients all of the time. We do half day intensive, full day intensive, a couple days, depending on what we're working on. But I mean, I've got amazing clients. We did this one, and I'll just share this quick story. Her name's Becca. I'm obsessed. She's a Fortune 500 sales exec. Like she's just a badass. Like I love her. And I was working with her on her brand, and she had this desire to not only write a book, but to get a book deal. She had already self-published one. And we met at the Ritz. We did a half day intensive. We mapped out her frameworks and the stories and all of it. She went back, ended up getting the book deal, not only wrote the book, published the book, hit USA Today bestseller, which is a feat in and of itself. But it was just such a good reminder of like the intentionality behind it. And everything ties so cohesively into what it is that she does now. And it has allowed her to continue to evolve. So it's beautiful stories like that where it's like, this is so important for us to do and to not discredit the value that we bring, right? And again, it's like if we can spend the time doing the work and get away from the fact that it's on our personal brand, it's about us, and more so about like, what would this message do if millions of people heard it, right? You've learned something, you've shared something, you've experienced something, you've got wisdom, right? Like that is what gets me excited, is just the ripple effect of the stories that can be shared because women are bold enough to say, you know what, I'm ready to share that story.
And I love that you even mentioned that she was a corporate, she was a Fortune 500, because I do think that as like entrepreneurs, and most of our audience is entrepreneurs, but I'm sure that there are some entrepreneurs that are in the room where they're working, still full time somewhere else. Like everyone has permission to build a brand. And that is, I just loved hearing that. Okay. So thought leadership is where it's at. Like, how do you define a thought leader?
I mean, a thought leader is somebody that's willing to put their stake in the ground and have a position on something or a topic or an area of expertise. Now with our consulting company.
It's not thoughts leaders.
Right. Exactly. Very good call out. Right. Yes. Please be clear with what it is you're thinking about and sharing. But now even with our consulting company, corporations bring us in even to say, we've got these 3 to 5 executives that are brilliant at what they do, but they have been heads down doing the work. We need to amplify their voices, and we need you to help package them to be able to do so. So I had this, I helped a gentleman. I don't just serve females. Most of my clients are females, but same thing. He had these cool opportunities, brilliant clinician, and landed a spot on the Huberman podcast. And so it was about how do we package all of his brand assets, brand equity, thought leadership in a way that when that podcast drops, people know where to go, what to do, how to find him, what next steps to take. So things like that, where it's like, you've got to be prepared for the opportunities, but you have to decide what you want to be known for too. And I know that's hard. And especially for entrepreneurs and creative people who it's like the shiny objects. I get it. I'm super passionate about a lot of things, but when it comes to certain areas of focus, like I know what I'm really good at and the gifts that I want to share with the world, and it might evolve in the future. But if you delete your focus, you delete your results. And if you delete your messaging, nobody knows who you are, and they can't share your story in a room that you're not in. And it's really important that you think about, how do you want to package it? What do you want to be known for? What are the things that you love to talk about that you could talk about all day and that you're good at?
I think that is solid advice. And I feel like there's definitely women that I know that need to hear this advice. The thoughts versus the thought, because as you kind of, I'm in a lot of circles with like our Millionaire Founders Club group. We do so many things. We have impact work now. We're exited founders, some of us. We're onto our second projects. And it's so hard for us your identity isn't going away. It's just what you're choosing right now to be known for, and what's this next chapter like. And so, I think that even I had to figure that out for myself, because I'm in I'm in fintech. Yet I support women and women building businesses. But I too had to say, no, I'm going to take a dial back. Not that I didn't want to talk about fintech, not that I don't talk about fintech. I talk about fintech when I go to my fintech forums, right? But generally, you're not seeing me talk about fintech. You're going to hear me talk about who I'm serving, which are women in business. And there's going to be thought leadership from my companies that I've built that are like my playbooks. But I did have to like come to a point where I said, if I were to look at my pillars and my brand pillars, where do I need to lean in on to pick the thought that I'm going to be known for? And I want to be known for helping women build really big businesses because I too built one.
Right.
And so that is part of the story.
Right.
So the fintech isn't going away. And I'll reference stacks. I'm building again. But even on this build again, I'm talking about still supporting the person in my impact that I want to support and not to be the best kept secret in building businesses.
Right. You're always in the best position to serve the person
but
you
it's
once
hard.
were.
It's
So
hard. It's
it
hard
is.
to do that. And I think sometimes even for those like successful women, because I can think of a few that have really big impacts that are doing multiple different things. And it's like, I do this and I do this and I do this. And I love that, but the message does get lost. And I don't think they like it when I say that, but it's
just with love.
It's with
You're
love.
telling them with
Yes.
love. But it's that clarity, right? That clarity around your messaging and who you are, what you stand for, and where you are best positioned to serve. But I loved what you called out because there's still places and spaces where it's appropriate for you to lean in on the fintech
Yes.
side, right? Where the authority that you have, the expertise that you have, that would be what would be welcomed in the room, right?
Yes.
But that's where you seek out those opportunities versus the vast majority of your time now, you're sharing your founder story. You're sharing building multiple businesses. You're sharing building community. You're sharing all of those things. And so it makes sense for you to lock in there. And then you ultimately have choice, right? Like you have the ability to say like, what lights you up the most? Like if you had to choose between the two, where would you spend your time?
Yeah.
And what a beautiful position to be in, right? And so if that's what, if you have multiple passions, like which one lights you up the most?
I also think that it also evangelizes the rest of the brands. So when you actually do connect, like I actually think that the more that I connect with more people, then they're all getting excited about the brands that I'm building as well. So I think it's okay. Like you're not going to let go of that piece of you. It's like finding that way to weave it in. But I love thought leadership. That was an important topic I wanted to talk about. Now I wanted to shift to, because we talked about women who were coming from fear, we're just getting started. What about those that are doing all the right things?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, they already have a podcast. They already, they're sharing their voice. They're showing up on social, but it's not feeling like it's moving the needle. Because I sometimes like I know she's listening. She's going to raise her hand. I'm doing all the things,
Right.
Allison,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like it's working and it's never enough.
Right.
Help.
Yeah. Well, it's like you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're like, I've put so much energy, effort. I'm not seeing the results of this. And so I really challenge you to do the audit, right? Do an audit of what is actually moving the needle. Where are you getting the yeses from? Where are new opportunities coming from? Where is your community being grown from? And when you're really honest with yourself, you're going to notice it's probably only 2 or 3 places that are really actually making a difference. But I think we've bought into this concept of I have to be everywhere and to everyone using everything. And no, you don't. Like test it, right? And I think that's the other thing is that be okay with a test or a pilot or a beta on a platform, right? See if it picks up some speed or momentum. See if it's actually attracting the right people.
Or even if you like it.
If you like it. If you hate it, what are you doing?
Yes, you're not going to show up like 3 months from now.
No. And all of a sudden be like, I actually like content creation when you're, miserable doing it. So it's also finding that out. And also, surrounding yourself with people that are experts in the space. I think the other part that I've seen is so many women trying to do it all by themselves. And you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can figure out a combination of things that make sense for you. And even if you're on a budget, when you're working on building your brand, there are other solutions. You don't have to go from 0 to 1,000 and feel like, you're spending all of this time, energy, effort. I mean, I know women that are spending so much money on it and they're feeling exactly how you just explained. So that's where you have to say, okay, what's working? What's not working? Where am I spending the resources? Am I getting the return on my investment? You have to be honest. And you talk about this all the time about looking at the numbers.
Yes.
You got to look at the numbers. And again, separating from it, like, is this fun? And I feel like this is like making me look great versus is this actually building my business and my brand? You have to be honest and have those conversations. And then I think for those that are doing it all, where do you want to go next? And where do you need to be showing up in order for those next level opportunities to come your way. So, maybe you've got the social presence down, maybe you've got the podcast, you're speaking on stages. Okay, but where do you want to be in 2 or 3 years, right? And how are we building your brand between now and then to actually attract those opportunities? Because your resources might be better spent having somebody pitch you or bringing in additional support internally so that you've got that, that support for your own business and brand. And I think you have to be really honest about where you're going. And if you've been spending the time, the energy, the effort, but it's not helping the future version of you, it might be time to reallocate those resources elsewhere.
I think that that's a really good tip right there, is like, you don't have to be everything everywhere. I think that's something I find is like, just build, like, one, understand what you love so you're comfortable creating that content, whether it's podcasting, whether it's, showing up on whatever one channel. Maybe your channel is like you love to write. Maybe it's a Substack. Maybe there's so many ways to share your thought leadership. And so it doesn't have to look a certain way because it looks a certain way for one of your friends or for one of your competitors or somebody you see online. So I love that component. You don't have to be everywhere. I also love the fact that you don't have to do it alone. I have to remind myself of that all the time. Everyone is building their brand. There's so much support in a collaborative network, which we're going to get to here shortly. And of course, then is doing the audit, being like truthful to yourself. Where am I spending the resources? I find so often people are spending so much money. I look at P&Ls all day long because that's what I do on the CEO School MFC side, on the private coaching side, all of that. A lot of money is being spent into visibility and the ROI just isn't there. Versus if you actually just bring on an internal person, an admin to support you for 1 to 2 channels to pitch for yourself, like your dollars can go so far. So I love the brand audit. How do you feel about PR in this space? And when is it helpful? Because it's such an expensive resource and I always toggle with it on and off. When should we be investing in it? And where does it actually turn into ROI?
Yeah. So again, it's like vet your talent, vet your vendors for sure. Like you need to make sure whoever you're pulling in that place and space has the credibility behind it.
And check with their clients. Because I think you think that, because I've had people that I've worked with that will say that they've worked with me and but it's like, wait, did they bring in the things? Are they going to bring it in for you? So I would vet through certain the people that they've worked with in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. Their client list is important.
Client list is really
absolutely
important.
And I think with PR, again, kind of back to today's day and age, like it is still important for you to be building that credibility aspect. Like when I look at building your brand, I'm looking at like, where are you showing up? Who else is co-signing on the thoughts the thought that you have, right? Like that thought leadership. And major media and press is still very important. But again, you want to be working with somebody that can actually land you those opportunities. And again, there's still like really great platforms that you can go on now and source your own opportunities. Like I use Quoted all the time and it's a great platform. It's kind of like Haro, right? Like the help a reporter out. Like reporters that are looking for credible sources, there are great channels that are utilizing
And guess where they're going to go when they like something that you've written? They're going to go check you out. They're going to go check out your profile. They're not going to your website.
Yeah. And again, it's like the relationship side of it. So I did very well on the PR side early in my career, helping build thought leadership for others, because I would land them something initially, and then I would build the relationship with the reporter to where they were texting me for, the next source, the next time they needed something. And so you can become that for somebody too. PR is still very important, but I think that you have to, again, think about, okay, where am I in this stage? What am I trying to share, right? Because again, if you have somebody that's pitching you, but there's not a solid angle or there's not a story or a hook, it's like they're not going to be successful in that pursuit either.
A call to action towards your things. So it's not like, where is it going? What's the point in building and just being like, oh, great, this is inspiring. And then what? What is the next thing that if somebody finds you, can they actually go buy the thing? Can they join your thing? Can they follow you online? Like, what's the next piece of action? So that's an important loop to close. We talk a lot about that too, about like be prepared for the opportunities and what are the next steps that you're going to encourage somebody to take with you. And so if you do have a PR opportunity, a speaking opportunity, a podcast opportunity, whatever it is, know exactly what that next step needs to be and take the time to prepare for it. Now, sometimes things are going to come out of the blue. You just got to act on it. Fine. But for the majority of the opportunities, you have a little bit of time to be strategic with it. And that's how you're going to truly be able to measure the ROI, because you will have thought about what is that experience going to be with somebody that takes it from that conversation or reading that article to potentially a client or a customer in the future. And even taking the article and then putting it into your own email newsletters and marketing materials and all of that. Like, I feel like sometimes even that gets lost. Okay, we could talk about this forever. I want to move into the final thought I had in my head for everyone to take away was you don't have to do it alone. Okay, so talk to me about the podcast network because I am so excited for this, y'all. I have truly, as a creator, a podcast host for 6 years. There are not a lot of shows that last this long. I have seen it all. I'm not in the 10 years ago OG time, but I feel like I've been like we have a legacy here in what we've built. I have seen the networks. I have seen the different styles of things. Nothing has ever lasted that I've been. There's a couple of networks that are really exciting, but I'm so excited to hear about She Believes She Could. So tell us all about the network.
Yeah, thank you. So, I think with my show, I fell in love with She Believes She Could and just the experience of creating a podcast and an environment. But it was a few years in where I'm like, okay, I've done the thing now, right? I've spent the time, the energy. I love the guests. I love meeting these amazing women. I love sharing their stories. But this is an investment if I want to do it well. And so I started really contemplating, how does this become a true revenue generator in the business? And so I started really monetizing our show. And I did it a variety of ways. Of course, I was always using it as an opportunity to attract new clients and consulting opportunities. But when we really turned towards how do we lean into this as part of the overarching brand and monetize it in a way that's meaningful and not using just CPM as the driver, right? So, cost per 1,000 downloads is a traditional way that a lot of networks do things. I was using it as one part of it, but I was packaging the entire brand. And we were able to do that pretty successfully. And She Believes She Could took on a nice little life of its own. And when I looked at the end of that first year of really doubling down, I was like, this is something very special. And what if we could do something bigger and different and almost disruptive in this space because nobody was really looking at it from an omni-channel, multi-channel type perspective and really helping to really make it profitable for the creator. A lot of the networks were benefiting a lot and the creators are getting pennies. And that's not how I operate at all. And so the other side to it is that nobody was really serving the smaller or mid-sized creator. And so I'm thinking about okay, well, the macro influencer to micro influencer transition happened on social a couple of years ago where brands were realizing these micro influencers are where it's at, niche communities, dialed in, loyal following. What if we did something similar in the podcasting space? And so that's really what it is designed to do. And I had recently moved my podcast into Hi Hello Labs. And, I'm sitting here looking at these amazing shows.
Which is where we're sitting, by the way, which is you've enjoyed the show we switched here after we got out of Zoom and COVID. Yeah. So this is actually where I'm sitting right now. Is the original studio where I moved around a ton in the space, but this is Hi Hello.
I love it. This was our original space too. So it's just special. And I got here, I was like, you're sitting on dozens and dozens of shows and, really amazing creators that are doing beautiful work, and they should be rewarded and compensated as such, again, for their thought leadership and what it is, the value that they're adding. And so I decided in December that we would launch the She Believes She Could podcast network. The initial plan for the next couple of years is really to be of service to the smaller to mid-sized creator with the intention of once we prove this model out at scale, that we'll be able to take on a lot of the bigger shows too. But it's just so special to be able to create something and to celebrate and reward creators at the level that they deserve to be rewarded. And I think it's because of that mentality shift of this isn't just about the downloads. This is about the community that you then have access to. This is about the fact that this show not only, streams on all the podcasting platform, but it's showing up on YouTube. Guess what? That show's way more valuable now, or now there's social clips. Now there's co-branded opportunities. Now there's, different ways of structuring brand deals. There's just so many opportunities. And so being able to create something that can serve creators in a different way is exciting. It's refreshing. It's fun. And, just looking at, the potential for the future, I'm so grateful to be in this place and space to be able to do this. And very much looking forward to all of the shows that we're able to support.
That's awesome. So if you're thinking about starting a show, start one. If you already have a show and you want to monetize it, I'm going to link Allison's network as well to at least do, and it could be from anywhere. You don't have to physically have a podcast here with you.
Correct.
It could be from everywhere, but I do believe that there is the niche in the community and having the right thought leaders. Even as I think about the larger platforms, you get so buried in messages and all of that, where I've had the most success of even connecting to my audience has always been on smaller shows. Like, of course, there's like some of the mega hits that will do really amazing for you. It's not like I was on Jay Shetty and then like I popped off the, you know, like it's not like that. Like there's a lot of credibility around it. And that was an incredible moment. But that was a moment. And where I've had the most impact is when I go on to other communities and other other podcasters who share the same audience that I'm trying to reach and to co-collaborate. So I think that there's so much power there. So congratulations on She Believes She Could. I'll be linking that into the show notes. Where can we find you? Thank you so much for all of the awesome wisdom. We're going to take notes. We're going to get out of our heads the mindset, and we're going to focus on the message and becoming a thought leader.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much. It's just been such a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm very active on Instagram at Allison Walsh. It is still me in the comments, in the DMs. So please reach out there. Everything related to She Believes She Could lives on shebelieveshecould.co. We actually have a summit coming up in May as well. So we're very excited about that. But you can find information there about the network, and then anything around the coaching and consulting services that I offer is on AllisonWalshConsulting.com.
Perfect. I'll link everything for you so you don't have to stress. And what an incredible episode today. If you enjoyed today's podcast and having a guest like Allison, please tag us on social. We'd love to share. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and slide into her DMs, slide into my DMs. And subscribe to the show. Leave us a review. I'm so excited to be back. I'm actually filming back in studio again. So I took a little bit of a hiatus, and that'll happen in our creative slumps where you have to kind of get out of it to come bring back the energy. And I think you can tell this next level of energy that's taking place here with us. So let me know how you're feeling about the show, topics you want to discuss, guests you want us to have on. It means the world to us. So I can't wait to see you again next week on another episode of the CEO School podcast. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you so much.